Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, Boots on the Ground, where we spotlight professionals in the field who have overcome challenges and how they work through them. Their stories offer real-world insights and tips for thriving in today's competitive landscape.
Hey, good morning. John Johnson here, and welcome to Get Your Mind Right, the world's only podcast devoted to merchant services and digital marketing professionals everywhere. With me today again is Austin Hoffman, the operating partner of VIP. Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for coming back, Austin.
Yep.
Hey, for you folks that have missed, this is number 3 in a series that Austin has provided us on digital marketing here. The first was on websites. He took us on a really cool deep dive. And then on the last one, we talked about e-commerce, some of the pitfalls with that, with shopping cart, and overall the shopping experience. So if you missed those two, I urge you to go back on Spotify or Apple or on YouTube, however you watch this, and pick those up again. Those are very, very useful. Today, where this is all for you salespeople. So service tech people, you could just stay in the truck. But Austin, I want to dive right into it because you're a hybrid. You're really sales and operations. So I'm going to start with the hard-hitting question here: is selling websites? Is it more about pixels and code, or is it more about value?
Yeah, pixels and code comes after you talk to them about the value, right? So being able to understand what their problems are, what their goals and objectives are for next year, right? And then you take it back to the design team and let them do the pixels and code.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's the right answer, by the way. There was a wrong answer to that.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to merchants, or you see sales reps out there talking to merchants, I mean, their reflexive reaction is going to be, hey, we're good on our website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are they right? Are they wrong? Are they looking at the right things? Are they looking at the wrong things?
Yeah, sometimes they are right? You have good traffic to the site. A lot of times what we'll see is they do not have the proper setup for it. So we'll go into analytics and see how much traffic is coming to it, how many different keywords do you rank for on that end, and then take a look at the site itself to be able to determine, are you doing the right things with the traffic that's being sent to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you're talking to a merchant about this, and maybe you're getting a little traction, maybe you're not, what's some common objections that you get from them on ultimately upgrading their website?
So one of the objections to, I guess, whenever you get to the end point of, they do see that there's not enough traffic going to it. If there is enough traffic, it's not converting anyone. You see them talk about the time and commitment they have to put into redesigning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for our end, what we're talking to them about is we're taking on 95% of workload when it comes to this. Whenever we have your first onboarding call, we want to have enough information from you to be able to take it to designers and build it out 75% of the way there, but know enough about every single industry that we participate in to get it to that next steps. They just have to do approvals on that end. So time is one thing, the commitment they have to put into it. Just being able to understand that you can do more than just website design is something too, that I don't know if they understand that, or if it's just a notion of, hey, my website is just information. You kind of walk them down the path of being able to say, did you know that you can put these different types of booking tools into it? We can walk customers down with these personalization rules on that side, and really just guiding them in that process too. So the objections with that would be, I don't really know what I can do outside of just telling people I do landscaping. Right? Yeah.
Well, so let's keep walking down that path here. I hear your team, and they articulate this in many different ways, but effectively they say that your website should be a 24/7 sales machine. How is that different than what your competition is offering?
Most of the time, again, it's just, hey, we do tires, and here's the brands that we do, right? A good example of that is a client that we have that has a tire tool built in. And so it doesn't matter if you're on there at 1 p.m. or 1 a.m., you can put all of your vehicle's information into it, see which location has the available inventory, what are the prices, what are the warranties, can I save this quote, can I submit it for an appointment after hours? That's the perfect example of having a 24/7 salesman.
Gotcha. You think your competition really looks at their websites in that way, that it's a 24/7 sales machine?
They try to, yeah. But they're really, most of the time you see the site designs is they're just trying to make sure their brands and services are on it. And that's the end point of them. They don't take the step further of figuring out, is there other tools out there that can guide the customer down a path that we want them to, and then turn them into a paying customer.
Well, the reason I ask that, I hear this talk track from your sales team often, is that with the merchants, they'll say, well, how many leads did your website produce for you last month?
Yeah.
And I know it's a loaded question because, the feedback I hear is sometimes the merchants say, what?
Yeah.
What's a lead?
Yeah. A lot of sites struggle with inbound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
well, of course, that's the hard part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then some of them too. I mean, the ones that are spending money on advertising, they have the traffic, but they're not converting. So you really need to sit down, and we do that with our clients too, and understand that, hey, let's test different pages. Looks like more people are converting on the old change page compared to X service. So it's structured differently. Maybe we need to adjust it around.
You made this point earlier. They try to see it as a 24/7 sales machine when in reality it's not, right? But we know from experience that there's ways to get those leads to be created. For you folks that missed out on episode 2, you want to dial back into that because we addressed that question specifically in that. But I want to keep moving on here. I know one of the hurdles too, anytime you're asking anyone to spend money on anything, is they want to know what they're going to get out of it. Okay, so you guys use the term investment a lot. You talk about reinvesting in your business. Tell me, in your world, Austin, how that differentiates from an expense.
Yep. I think the most common thing that we talk to them about is, this is the last time we want you to have to pay for a redesign, because the long-term value that we'll create with our clients by being able to talk to them, make the constant adjustments as part of their plans, they'll never have to redesign it because we're always on top of it. So we really want it to be the last time that they had to do a reinvestment for the first time, and then the ongoing maintenance afterwards.
Gotcha. So let's say you go into a merchant. I'm sure this has never happened to you, but they've got a website that's just really not functioning well at all and is hopelessly outdated, yet they insist it's fine. You got any points of attack for that type of merchant?
Yeah, you can pull up plenty of analytics, right? It happens all the time where they say their website's fine, and you take a look at the analysis that we have internally, and there's zero traffic. And then you bring it to their attention, and they have no idea that there's zero traffic going to it because they haven't logged into the analytics for the last 2 years.
Because they signed off on the visual aesthetics of that website in the beginning, and they never changed their mind on that.
Correct.
And there was no notion of holding their website to any sort of performance metric.
Correct. And then even if sites are fine at that time too, you can take a look at the analysis that we can do in the back end, and you say, looks like you rank for 1,000 keywords now, but you used to rank for 3. And in 3 months, you'll rank for 700, you'll rank for 500, and eventually it'll be going away from your top spots that you are currently ranking for. So you're not making the proper adjustments now. It looks like it's been on the back burner with your agency, and that's why we need the opportunity to get in front of you, rebuild this thing, get it back on the right track, and then we constantly watch this.
Gotcha. So I'm going to take you way in the Wayback Machine to 5 years ago when COVID. And that was an odd time because, if you were like in the fence business, in the lawn business, all types of service business, these contractors were absolutely covered up, right? They had like pool guys. They were out like 2 years on work. So what did you say to that merchant when he said, hey, listen, we don't need any more business. Why would we want to spend money on this?
Yep. You can have plenty of traffic and plenty of business coming in too, but is it the actual business that you want to get in front of, right? So you could be doing low ROI services and keeping super busy, but is there a way that we can get in front of the customers that you want to be doing those large pull jobs, right? Being able to get those high ROI jobs.
Yes.
Can we run ads to the site, or have the site walk somebody down that looks like that perfect customer demographic too? So you can be busy, you can be having great traction to the site, but is it the work that you actually want to be doing at the end of the day?
When I first heard this, I really thought this was a sales tactic, right? And after COVID, I actually saw it work. There was a concrete company, and they specialized in patios. They were covered up. All concrete companies were, right? But for whatever reason, this company was really set up to do patios. And that's what you guys did. It was amazing. I know you do this all the time with attorneys, even if they're busy. It's okay. What's your best kind of case you want? What's your highest return? What is in your wheelhouse that you want your phone to ring right now?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really effective way of doing business, and I guess that's why the attrition is so low on the Viv side as well.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you see? I know you talked to a lot of reps there out in the street there. What do you see some common and or big mistakes these reps are making when it comes to selling websites?
Not talking about the operational stuff that you can do beyond just website design, right? That actually goes back to a previous question too. Is you might have great traffic to the site, but is it helping you other than marketing on your day-to-day operations?
Mm.
Are you spending too much time on the phone whenever this system could be quoting stuff out for you? Are you not giving enough visuals to people on previous stuff to where you have to keep sending them individual emails on things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just being able to help them in their day-to-day operation, it has even converted people who have high traffic over to us so we can help them on their day-to-day. So that's a big thing or a big mistake I don't see a lot of people talking about right away. And then they see someone internally talk about it and it becomes part of the conversation too.
Okay.
So we're trying to drive more business via the website, right? But we're also trying to alleviate some of the pain of your day-to-day operations.
Okay, I'm smiling because I saved my toughest question for last here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you run into that merchant and they tell you they don't need a website because they got a really great Facebook site.
Yeah.
This is your snappy comeback time.
I was going to say, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg likes that too. Right?
Well, he needs the money.
Yeah. But it's just not the proper way to push your business out. It's especially from the website side, right? You want to have your website because all your traffic that you generate on Facebook should go to your site. We're controlling some of that information that's coming over to you. It's not 100% professional. Just have that as your only spot. And then you have the ability to have anybody comment, leave your reviews,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you have no access to on that portion, and it's not what your business is about. So when you have your site, you have full control over it.
Awesome. Well, Austin, this has been great. Austin has graciously agreed to come back for episode 4, which are elements of a high converting website. So I look forward to seeing you here next time. For Austin Hoffman, I'm John Johnson. And until then, get your mind right. So, Austin, I know there's a lot of excitement about these e-commerce sites there. And when you think about an e-commerce store for a merchant, what are some of the biggest factors that positively or negatively are going to affect that e-commerce store?
Yep. One of the biggest things is definitely the branding of the site, right? So you don't want anything generic that does not match the branding on it. It could be fonts, logos, colors, high quality images, right, are very, very important for a site. You want to make sure you have a modern look, especially if you're like a boutique, right? Because you want to be able to have high quality images showing your products and then really be branded around the business from that side. Other factors, right? You want to make sure your site's secure. So that's a big thing too. We still see to this day on that end is some of these e-commerce stores are not secure even at the high domain level, right? And then again, it just goes back to being able to shop quickly and be able to purchase.
Right. Gotcha. So beyond that, let's talk about specific product pages. What do you advise merchants to do that's going to take those people that are just browsing or shopping and we turn them into real customers?
Yep. So as soon as they find something that they like and they go to the product page, right? So not just having a single picture, you want to have 4 or 5 pictures, right? People are even now putting graphics into it as well. So after you scroll through the first couple images, now there's a graphic that kind of showcases the features of that specific product or item, right? Kind of like you're scrolling in social media. So that's one of the newest trends that we're seeing. You definitely want to see testimonials. You want to see related products too that they can add on while they're checking out. You want to be able to see all of your payment options. And then you want to easily be able to add it to your cart from that side. So all those are the biggest components of being able to go from finding something you like into the checkout process.
Okay, so since you brought up checkout process, what sort of problems are you seeing at the checkout process when it comes time to collect that payment?
The immediate thing is creating an account, right? So whenever you slow your customer down to get to the final purchase point, it's really going to have a lot of drop-offs and completed purchases. So if you have, and now B2B is a different story, right? But B2C, you want to get to that from that cart to checkout as soon as possible. Having multiple payment options in there too for them to be able to use whatever they want to is a big component of completing it as well.
Okay.
And then being able to retarget them back after if they did not complete the checkout is another factor that you're going to want in that process.
Well, you brought up this payment option, so I want to peel that back. I see all these crazy payment options on there. I mean, what do you think is really imperative, and what are you seeing, and how does this all help facilitate turning a browser into a shopper?
Yeah, the customer wants to pay how they want to pay, right?
Yeah.
And then they want to pay when they want to pay too. So you want to be able to take everything from credit and debit, just like a normal opportunity, right? But some people have cash and PayPal from stuff they did on the weekend. Some people want to be able to push the payment down a little bit and do a buy now, pay later operation. And you also want to have everything like your Apple Pay into it too, so I can double click into it and not have to worry about a thing. And then it's purchased and it's coming to me in the mail.
I don't know if this came from you, but someone on your team propagated this as we meet customers where they want to pay us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess that all fits together. Yeah, that's a really good answer here. So how important are trust signals like, security badges and customer reviews and testimonials?
Yeah. Security badges are definitely something that a third party, right there, they're verifying the site is secure. You want that on there. A lot of people can spin up sites and it might be not even related to the product or the brand on that end. So it gives you great trust and security on that end. You also want to verify that other people like it too, right? So a little bit of social proof is going to get your customer a little bit more confident in making their purchase on that end. And really just kind of verifying that, hey, this is a legit company. Other people are liking it. I'm going to like it myself. And I'm not sure if this was part of the original question, but the return policy is a big thing too, because people want to be confident that if I don't like this, I want to be able to return it.
I can send it back.
Yep.
Okay. Talk to me about cart abandonment. I know that's a big issue among merchants. They get really frustrated. They get people all the way up to the goal line. They just can't punch the ball in. What, if anything, can you do to help them out there?
Well, I think some abandoned cart instances happen just because people get busy, right? You might be looking at something, you're getting ready to check out, and all of a sudden something happens at your house. Your dog barks, somebody comes to the front door, right? The boss walks in, right? So you kind of want to nudge them. And so you can build automated tools to be able to bring them back and say, hey, after 2 hours, bump John and say, you left this in your cart, why don't you come and check out? You can also do a sequence of things too, right? So 2 hours is that message. 24 hours says, hey, really want you to make this purchase. Here's 5% off your next item, right?
Right.
And so now you're enticing them, and then you can do a third one past that or however long you want to go.
Well, you bring up an interesting point here, because I find that small businesses, they're really focused on that customer experience, and it's a fine line, right? I want to be persistent, yet I don't want to be too intrusive. And I don't want to do anything to, injure my reputation in that community. So, how do you tread that line with a merchant when they're worried about these things?
You don't bombard them every 3 hours or so, right?
Okay.
In the abandoned cart recovery side, you have a cutoff, but there's plenty of stuff within your email marketing software now that we can start putting customers into different categories or segments and start advertising to them that even though they didn't make the sale, we've captured the email address or phone number.
Okay.
So if you were looking at AC/DC shirts and we have a custom,
I am, by the way,
a custom drop a month later, we can send you an email and say, hey, John, you were looking at AC/DC shirts. Why don't you check out this new drop? Oh, that interests me because it's personal to me. It was things I was looking at, and I'm going to look at it and ultimately make a decision if I want to purchase it or not.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Give me an e-commerce or shopping cart horror story.
Oh, there was a watch company that I really wanted this watch, and I did tons of research on it, verified that is a legit company, right? And I got to the checkout page, entered in my information, but as soon as I got to type in my card information, the page wanted to zoom in super far, right? So every time I click to put my credit card information, it would zoom in, I'd zoom out, it'd zoom in, and kept doing it over and over. And then whenever I finally got all the information in, I pushed submit to move to the shipping option, and it said error, right? And so I refreshed it, put it all in again, went through it, got to the shipping, did the same thing. I just ultimately never bought the watch.
They spent all that money, got you across the goal line, but yet wouldn't give you the 6.
Yeah, and the worst part is it came from an advertisement. So I saw an advertisement. They spent money for me to click on it, research it, ultimately want to buy it, send them my money, and I couldn't make the purchase.
So I had one. It was one of those pop-up advertisements. It was really a cool shirt. So it's the first time I'd ever acted on one of those, right? So I clicked on it. I wanted to buy it, and I couldn't ever get to the shopping cart. So again, at some point you give up in disgust and you're angry. So 2 or 3 weeks later, I got that pushed at me again. So I went through the whole confounded process, and then of course they kept pushing those ads. I mean, how much did they spend? Yeah. I mean, it was literally dozens of ads they pushed me over the next couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the exact same thing happened to me. I kept getting the ads, and I kept reporting the ads because I was tired of seeing them. So even if that bug was fixed an hour later, I still haven't been back to purchase.
Well, Austin, this has been fantastic. Hey, folks, we're going to have Austin back for episode 3 of this series here, and it's Overcoming Objections for Selling Websites. So all you folks that are in digital marketing now or aspire to be in it, this is going to be action-packed. I'll see you next time here on Get Your Mind Right. For Austin Hoffman, I'm John Johnson.